Hello, welcome to Math for All, where we try to make math creative, curious, and we're so excited today. Oh, sorry, I'm Molly Vokey. I don't know what I'm talking about today.
And I'm Heidi Savani.
I'm Molly Vokey.
Welcome. Show number 2, season 5. We're super excited to have you here. And this season, you will notice that even though in the past we've always made a point to have women and non-binary folk as main guests on our show this year, all of our guests, we just decided to take it up one level. All of our guests will be women and non-binary folk, and we are just really excited about this season number 5. So thanks for being here.
Yes. You can follow us on Blue Sky or our YouTube channel or our Math for All Facebook page. Feel free to visit our website. I don't have our book, Heidi, because
I don't either, but yep, you can get it there.
Well, we have a book, and so if you want it, go to Didex. It's called Math Activators, and its topics are fractions, decimals, and integers.
And if you're going to be at any of the national conferences this next week, we will be there too. So come and say hi.
Yes. Love to see new faces. So today we're going to be talking to Mona Iehl, and we're going to be talking about how can one word problem create a classroom of problem solvers. And she is coming out with a book, which is super exciting. So we'll get to talk about that today. So let's hear about her. Mona Iehl is a former classroom teacher turned instructional coach who helps educators create math classrooms full of curiosity, collaboration, and confident problem solvers. She is the author of a soon-to-be-released book, Word Problem Workshop, 5 Steps to Creating Classrooms of Problem Solvers, a teacher-tested, research-backed routine she developed and has taught to hundreds of teachers across the country. Mona brings over 17 years of experience and a deep belief that every student can grow in math through discourse, struggle, and real-world problem solving. Let's bring her in.
I'm here.
Oh.
Hey. That was so cool. With the power of TV,
I
just
know.
brought me in.
The proverbial door, so to speak.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. It's so nice to be here.
Hi, how are you?
Great. I'm excited.
Super excited to have you here today. And we always love to start with what is your math story so that people can get to know a little bit more about you.
Yeah. Okay. So I feel like my math story starts when I'm a teacher, because I didn't really spend a lot of time as a kid thinking about math at all. Like in all the ways that you might think about math, like thinking in math class. I don't think I did that.
Yeah.
I also don't think I thought a lot about math, like whether I was a math person or not, or whatever. My mom and brother are like great at math, and that's like kind of the narrative of the childhood. But like, I feel like, one of the big moments, the crescendos in my math story, is when I was teaching at the board, as we did in the beginning years of teaching. And all of a sudden, it dawned on me that multiplication meant groups of, some scripted curriculum I was reading. And I was like, truly, like, record scratch. Excuse me. Did you guys hear that? Like this is me in front of third graders. Like, you guys, multiplication.
You guys should know this.
Like, I was like, honestly floored. Like, it still sticks with me. I think it was like my 3rd or 4th year of teaching. And I was like, how the way my life could have been different if I would have thought about math like in these ways, right? If I would have known multiplication was groups of, things would have been different. And so all around that time, I had a math coach, a new lady to the school, and she was like, "Can I teach math?" And I was like, "Yes, you can. Yes, you can." Because that is one day I don't have to teach math. And this is all really weird, right? This math story of me being a math book author now and all that. I'm
No,
always
it's
feeling like a
surprised.
phony.
it's actually not. I was actually just saying this today or yesterday, working with teachers, because we were talking about, some of their stories or memories. And I was saying, you would be surprised how many people have negative math stories, even though their profession is now math.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like,
or even like ambivalent math stories.
That's right.
But
like,
yeah.
I used to call myself a math avoider because like, that's kind of what it was. Like, I just avoided the topic. I don't need to talk about that. I know how to get an A in this class. I cheat and then I memorize the steps and I get my A on my test and then I'm good. Like, and I mean, I cheat on my homework. Like, cheat on my homework. Homework's bullshit anyways. Oh, can I say bullshit?
You can say whatever.
Sure.
I did. Anyway, I'm teaching. I realized that multiplication is groups of. At around the same time, this math coach is like, hey, can I teach a lesson? And I'm like, let's go. One day I don't have to teach math. And she stands in front of my class and just poses a problem and stands back and is like, here you go, guys. Use the tools on your tables and go to town. And I was like, wait, what? They're going to freak out. Like, what's going on? And so I didn't say anything. I just watched. And what I saw was like kids like came alive, like in a similar way to like when I would, say, hey, read this text and then let's talk about it. They would get pumped to share their ideas. The same thing happened in math. And again, I'm standing in my own classroom going, wait, why didn't anybody tell me you could do this in math? Like, I love a discussion. I love teaching in a circle. I love making stuff real world. Nobody ever told me you could do that in math. And so that kind of set me on this journey of finding out all the ways that you can teach math that don't suck. And so I started at CGI, cognitively guided instruction, and I taught little kids 3rd grade. And it was like, yeah, we got to just start from the beginning here. You all have a lot of ideas and let's start with those. And then it just kind of, I really feel like my math story is my teacher math story of like, now here I am. I tried a bunch of things that I read in books in my own classroom that kind of led me to like this daily routine that works, and it works for me. And that's what I wrote this book about that you said in the intro. And like, I don't know, I'm just kind of on this mission to like help teachers with like me that think teaching math sucks and like isn't fun. And we didn't go into teaching math for that. We went in for the picture books and the SEL lessons. That's why I became a teacher.
Yep.
And it's like, if you're that teacher, like actually you can teach math in like so many similar ways and it can be just as fun. And yeah, that's my math story so far.
Yeah.
I love that math story because I was really just telling teachers today that I learned like really what division of fractions means. I was a math major. So it's a little bit embarrassing. It's a little bit embarrassing, but I say it all the time because I want teachers to have freedom to share their story and to feel like they can still learn. But I was in my 30s before I truly understood division of fractions.
Yeah.
So let's be real, people. Let's get this stuff into kids' hands much earlier than we were able to get it into our own hands.
That's right.
So I love your mission. I love your mission.
Well, thanks. We're all on a similar one, I feel like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think our line of work really does lead us in this way. So tell us, now we get to talk about your book, right? Because this is what your book is about. How can one word problem create a classroom of problem solvers?
Yeah. So that's what I started doing. I started just embracing the 5 practices for orchestrating math discussions. I started embracing CGI and just trying it out in my classroom and trying to see like, what does that actually look like? Because we love principles to actions. We love these books, but what does it actually look like in a real elementary classroom on the west side of Chicago with kids that are not like, loving math either?
Yeah.
And so it started for me with just simplifying things and like finding one really exciting word problem and spending a whole bunch of time talking about it and launching it and grappling with it. and then sharing kids' ideas and discussing those ideas, and then reflecting on what we just experienced, all this stuff. How can we take what we learned and move it on to another problem or to our curriculum lesson or whatever we have to do after this? And so that's kind of where the 5 steps of word problem workshop came from. But within that like predictable routine, I started integrating and just infusing like all of this. Well, what needed to happen was I needed to create a space where kids would share their thinking, where they would grapple, where they would try a problem that they didn't really know how to solve. And so I had to create this community that showed them that their ideas and expertise that they already come with inside of them, that I didn't teach them, that they had a place here, and that their voice was the most important thing. And so inherently in these 5 steps, every day, kids are validated for their attempts and their ideas. And and so what happened was we had this really strong classroom community, and we had kids like learning math because we were working from what they understood and just building on it a little bit each day. So that's Word Problem Workshop generally. I just got my book last.
Woohoo! It's exciting. It's pretty.
It's so pretty, right? I know. It's full color inside. I'm so pumped.
Oh, so fancy.
No, you need that. Like, it pops.
That's right. It's nice and bright and fun. So so what else? What else should we talk about Word Problem Workshop?
I mean, I feel like I've listened to a few of your podcasts, and the one you were talking to, I'm not going to remember her name, but she was, I think, the math coach that you're referring to.
Could be.
Came into your classroom, or maybe it was the SEL, the person who
Megan, the social worker. Did you just
yes, that's the one that I was listening to. And that was reminding me of your podcast, because you were talking about all these things that needed to happen to set up your classroom so that risk can be taken and problems can be attempted and all of that. So maybe talk a little bit about your learning on that you incorporate in the book.
Yeah, I think so on my podcast called Math Chat, I'm doing this whole series where I interview people that I acknowledged in the book. Like, books don't write, I didn't write this book. All of my experiences wrote this book, right? And so Megan's a huge influence. She is the school social worker at the school I spent 12 years at. And she taught me so much about how kids have to be regulated in order to learn. And especially when we're teaching kids with a lot of trauma, that being trauma-informed educator means thinking about these things inside of academic areas. And so not just during morning meeting, not just at the beginning of the year when I'm building community in those first couple weeks, but every single day. And so honestly, when I started to write this book, and the book proposal I sent to Stenhouse was about creating a classroom community of math learners. And then I was going to have a chapter on Word Problem Workshop, and I was going to have a chapter on other things. But then what I realized was you know what? The whole reason why I build a community is because of these 5 steps. And so I really wanted to send the message that when we give kids rigorous work and we show them that we believe they can do it, and our stance shifts from let me tell you what to do to tell me what you're thinking, that right there helps kids, it disarms them, right? We shift the narrative from math is a subject where you have to be quick and right, to math is a subject where I just want to know about your thinking. Because at the end of the day, and I guess this is maybe related, but at the end of the day, I want kids to leave my math class being problem solvers, because there's a bunch of problems in the world that I need them to have the skills to solve. And so maybe we're solving fraction problems, but we're learning how to be resilient. We're learning how to, find our center when we're overwhelmed. We're learning how to get feedback. We're learning how to tackle a problem that seems overwhelming. So all of those skills we embed within the routine that we do every single day. And that's such a more meaningful opportunity for kids to learn those skills, right? When we're doing something than just like, here's a video on resilience, you know, like that doesn't really work.
You should be resilient.
Learning jargon. I can be resilient.
Right. And I was talking to a district math person today, and I was like, you know, one of the challenges that we sometimes like walk into anytime, you know, we are dealing with math anxiety or like our like math identity or any of these things, like we set up these structures at the beginning of the year, right? Like, well, oh, we're going to do X number of non-curricular tasks, or we're going to do X number of growth mindset things, or we're going to do, and then we have like the growth mindset fake out is kind of what I call it. It's like how when I was growing up, you'd like go to shake someone's hand and they'd pull their hand back, right? Like that's like the growth mindset fake out that happens to kids when we start with those things. And then like a week or so in, we're like, okay, open your books to page da 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 da. And we are not connecting the everyday real life work that we're doing in classrooms, regardless of subject, but most often in the math classroom, to the experiences that students actually have. And when we have, you know, math messages that are heard from a very young age that are often the opposite of what we would hope them to be, they don't have, like, that's the time to work on those skills. Like when you're actually experiencing that dysregulation or that struggle or that inability to like think of how you're going to share your thoughts with someone else. Like that's the moment to work on these larger skills than just, you know, at morning meeting or like in isolation, in silo that so often happens in classrooms. Even if we're a self-contained classroom, it's like, oh, it's now time for this. No, it's time for this. And so there's a real lack of integration between the social and emotional work that we do and the academic work that we do.
Yeah. And as a teacher, it's overwhelming to think about like, okay, wait, when a kid's like facing their, you know, negative math memory, what do I do? Like, how do I address that? And what I actually in my work see happen most often is teachers help kids, right? When a kid is like hitting a wall, they're like, hold on, honey, let me just show you how to do that. Or let me walk you through the whole test that I'm going to give you tomorrow, right now. Like,
it's my favorite.
What? Yeah. So I'm like, and that is where it came from. It was like my students were facing these, you know, new Common Core assessments. And it was like, well, how am I going to get them practicing these tasks all the time, right? Not letting math be like a bunch of naked numbers and then the tasks, but like, how do word problems become the learning? And so for me, everything has to be a routine. As a teacher who teaches all the darn subjects, I got to have a routine. I got to know that every single day we're going to work these 5 steps with a worthy task. And like, it's all going to be like reinforced within there in terms of SEL. Because I think like in the classroom, what you're thinking about a lot of the time is like, am I going to get through it all? Am I going to cover it all? Am I, you know, all of that. And so it's really a lot of pressure when you're like trying to get through all of these practice problems, like 9 pages, and like there's only word problems and application at the very end. And like when we get to the very
skip those, that's not important.
Yeah, we either skip them because it's, you know, centers or reading or something. Got to go to, I don't know, specials, or it's like, this is too hard for them, but it's not too hard for them. Their gas tank is just empty because we just did 9 pages of practice problems, you know? And so by the time we get to word problems, they're so darn hard. Not even because of the math, but because of, you know, how it all works out with Peyton. So that was the choice too, to like bring word problems to the front. This is one problem every day. We're going to do this 20, 25 minutes that incorporates a chance for you to work independently and grapple. So you can prove to yourself that you can do this. Like, I don't care if you finish. I don't care if you get a solution today.
Yeah.
The learning happens in you trying to figure that out. And that fact alone helps kids rewrite some of that stuff that they've heard about what math is. Because I agree with you, Heidi.
Also about who they are.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
You
They're
have
renaming themselves in the math classroom. And that is the most important thing that can come of this, in my opinion, from hearing you talk about it. I mean, the math has such a bad rap. I mean, next week Heidi and I are presenting on math anxiety, and she has like 25 slides of negative math advertisements that we could have easily 25 to 500 more. So
in fact, on that, I don't know if you have this one in your slides, but just the other week I was reading a graphic novel. It's like a pizza and a taco. It's like a early reader graphic novel. I will have to send you a picture after this.
Yes.
And they are like in math class, and there's like frame after frame after frame after frame, and the clock is the only thing moving in the frames, you know, and everybody's like, this sucks. And so like, like, I'm like, no, it's 2025. And like, this is the baby book. Like, this is for 5 and 6 year olds. Like, what are we doing? It's always the butt of the joke. Right. And so, like, we can say all the things like, oh, we're a classroom of problem solvers. Thinking matters more. We can put the posters up. We can, we can put them up. But if our actions don't match the message, then like you said, like the message is lost. It was just another thing the teacher said that went in one ear and out the other.
Yeah. I feel like as you're talking, and when I was listening to your podcast, I almost feel like we can credit COVID in a way, or I know that people don't start sentences like this, but in a way, COVID has given us this whole new view on SEL and trauma and, you know, people witnessed in their home, kids struggling with any number of things outside of school, inside of school, like whatever. And I feel like since then we were heading this direction anyways, but it's been a huge spotlight on the subject of SEL and giving people permission to talk about mental health and trauma and all the SEL things. So I do feel like it's been, since COVID, almost an explosion of, you know, how can we teach math better, more universally than just like when we go to a conference and we hear all the people who are doing this work and studying it and, you know, doing the work out in the field. But now it's more people talking about it. In many schools. And the importance is not just in the math classroom. It's like whole school working on SEL stuff. So I do feel like, as I hear you talking about it, that we're in a lucky time for you to have been developing these strategies.
Totally. Yeah. And I worked at a school for 12 years, the same school that valued what we called character education. And we were told half of the time to do academics and think about half of our instruction time teaching the people. And like, even if that's not like a way that your school allocates time, in your brain, thinking about, I am teaching the content, surely, but I'm also teaching these human beings that are going to go into the world and need to take a lot more with them than just these skills.
They're going to have to solve the problems that we created.
I mean,
we better make them better than us.
Currently, there are some problems that need to be solved.
Just a couple.
Yeah. I mean, the joke used to be like, you're going to be my doctor and you're going to be my lawyer. But like now it's like, no, you have to fix all this.
Exactly.
And like take all these things on and, you know, thinking about a larger problem and the time that it takes, like valuing that time, right? Like, so by moving the word problem up, you're showing that you value the grapple time and the struggle piece. But one thing I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about some strategies for teachers who want to jump in and with the very best of intentions help too much in those moments. Like, what do we do with ourselves when we, or I'm sure because you work in school still and you do this work, like the teacher who you see on the sideline getting visibly almost agitated or upset because you're not like immediately jumping in and fixing the thing. So can you talk a little bit about that?
So like, well, okay, I have two answers. Number one is during grapple time, teachers need something to do because we're going to do something. That's just what we do. And so I've come up with like, here are the 4 things that you're going to do during grapple time. And like the first one is you're going to pretend like you're a lifeguard and you're just going to scan the pool and you're going to see who's drowning. And if anyone is drowning, you're going to them immediately, right? That's what lifeguards do. But otherwise, you're taking stock of like who's too close to the deep end, who's like not got their noodle under their arms quite right. Like you are reading body language, you are watching who's getting started and who's not. And so like giving teachers that task, like right off the bat, I think kind of is like, okay. And then I always say like, we're going to walk around the room twice and just observe and write down and like take notes on our little guide that we're going to make when we plan. We're going to take note of like what strategies kids are using or attempting to use. And again, that gives us something to do. Okay. And we haven't talked to a kid yet. They've been trying to talk to us and we're working on our neutral stance. Right. But like really thinking about like, I'm not going to confirm or deny if they're on the right track or if they're right or if they're doing what they should be, because that's their job. And like we all have a job to do here. And my job as a teacher is to make sure I know what the status of the class is.
But also you're sending a message at that time. I believe in you.
That's right. That's exactly
I believe in you. I don't need to validate what you're doing. I believe in you. I love that.
I don't want to take your chance to think, honey. Like, I don't know. What do you think? Like, oh, I'm not going to tell you what you want me to do that for you. No. You got this. Right. Like that's the language. And like, sometimes that's hard if we've never had anyone model that for us as a teacher. So like when I was writing this book, I tried to tell a lot of like little stories. So as teachers, we can hear those words because I know for me as a teacher, I learned best when I watched those model lessons or when I visited colleagues or, you know, in PD when people would model. And so I tried to put that in the book, not only these like 4 steps for, you know, teacher, trying to make these all routine, but I also tried to give you like the language. So anyway, after we write down everybody's name, then we're going to start like zoning in and looking for the people that like we want to talk to more. And that might be people that need a little nudge on like, okay, let's, you know, we got to go this way, not that way, you know, or something. Or it might be somebody who's doing something interesting that we want to like use later to link to our learning goal in the share. And so then only after we've started to identify a few people to zone in on, only then do we get to the ask. And that's where we will like lead a brief, you know, math conference where we might ask questions or nudge, or even just like drop in a little nugget of information of like, you know, hey, have you ever thought about using base 10 blocks? Like really just like laying it out there, you know? So I have found that giving teachers something to do during grapple time helps, but then also talking about the whole process, again, not the whole math class, but is this piece of math. Within all of it, there are times for you to kind of lean in like a little bit more toward like the coaching or the telling or the gentle nudging. And then there's other times where we pull back. And so in the launch, we're like, it's all of them have like little icons. So launch is a backpack. And so it's about like packing the kids' backpack with all the things that they're going to need on their problem solving journey, which is grapple. It's like a little path. those are the times where we're kind of like pushing kids out the door. Like, come on, you can do it. We believe in you. We're giving the pep talk. But then as we go to the share and the discussion, that's really a lot more facilitated by the teacher. We're keeping students' voice at the center, but we've chosen the kids who are going to share. We've given those like little thought tasks to kids. Hey, you use the same strategy as Mia. So when we're in the circle today, I want you to listen into Mia's strategy because I think you're going to have some important things to say during the discussion. Right? Like those are the ways I'm supporting students thinking instead of being like, hey, you're not quite getting that. Let me show you how to do that. Right? Instead, it's like that nudge to like listen differently in the discussion.
I love, I'm thinking about, I just have had so many conversations with teachers in the last couple of days about this very idea. And I love the way that you're talking about lifting students because you're focusing on like very, very positive things about students, which is often not the way things are approached. And so I love that. And I love that when you're talking about choosing students who might be the center of the discussion or and probably like how you're going to orchestrate that discussion. So who's going first, second, third, that type of thing is modeling for the students who might have had a bit of trouble. Like, okay, I can see that this kid over here or whatever didn't quite get to the spot that they had hoped. But now if I present this person's first and this person's second and this person's third, then they're going to see a clear path that they didn't get to themselves.
Yep. And I love the share because I always taught students who struggle like that, would have been easy for me to talk about how they are years behind and they can't do this and they can't do that. But that's just not how people learn, right? If that's the assumption, then we just might as well stop showing up because that's not going to work. And so for me, I love the pep talk, we're building this confidence in grapple time. But this is what I like even more sometimes is like, honey, I just need you to try for 8 minutes and then we're done. And then you can come to the share and you don't have to think about what you did. Now you got to think about what Mia and Tyler and George did. And that's it. And you're off the hook. And now that really, I have found has helped so many kids. Like, leave it on your desk. It's fine. Come to the carpet. Let's watch what they did. And now your only task is to notice and wonder about what they did and draw connections between their strategies. And that has like been a really good way for kids to like on-ramp into a math discussion that they may have not thought that they could participate in because I didn't solve that way. You don't have to solve that way.
Right. And I think sometimes seeing that progression or seeing another kid's work, like I have been able at times in a classroom that has a great culture, been able to say, so-and-so over here, you got stuck on that part, right? Why did you get stuck? What happened there? And they may not have even gotten beyond there, but that classroom culture that was created by that teacher, like allowed that kid to comfortably talk about the place where they got stuck after seeing where the unstuck, after viewing somebody who was unstuck. And I think that is so valuable.
The only way kids get comfortable with sharing that in progress thinking or talking about their mistake is if we show them day after day that that your thinking is all that we care about, that nobody's getting lambasted because they have drew out every 132 circles, right? Like, okay, that's what she did today. And I'm going to draw out all 132 circles to show you. And nobody's like, are you sure? Like, nobody's doing that, right? Like, and that proves to kids that thinking and that mistake is all part of this.
No, it's so valuable to have the opportunity to to not have gotten there yet. Like, and I think that's sometimes the struggle when we work with teachers who are like, well, they didn't get, I'm like, it's okay, because now we're all going to talk about like an access point that maybe they didn't think of, but it's so much better if I'm not the one telling them.
That's right. Oh yeah. The value of kids' voices.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I say this to teachers all the time. If it worked for us to tell them, then we would, like, school would be so easy. Teaching would be the most valued job, and like everybody would want it, because if you could just tell kids what to do and they did it and they learned it and we're good and we moved on, like, right? We can't just tell kids, and we all have kids of our own. And when somebody else tells them, next thing you know, that sounds like the way to go, even though I've been saying it for 7 years.
Yep.
Just so you know, that continues.
I mean, I know, because I'm a kid myself, and that happened to me, right? Like, my mom, she's got a lot of grace, because that's definitely happened a lot in my life. Like, I knew better. But I think you're right, like, Heidi, about student voice. And so when kids hear it from their peers, but the best part, I think Pam Seda wrote about this in Choosing to See. Like, kids' status is increased when they hear their peers talk about their strategy, when they are seen and talked about by their peers. And I think from my experience, kids are dying to share their work. Like, if I choose them to be the ones to get their strategies scribed up on the paper, you would have thought that, like, I made their whole life. And like, my kids want to take the chart paper home that I like scribe their stuff on. Like, it's this sought after thing, because we've created this culture of like, we're going to learn from you today. And what a like honor for them, right? In their little, like, even fifth graders, the schools that I coach this in, kids will stop me in the hall and be like, Miss Mona, just so you know, we're in there right now doing word problem workshop. Are you going to come in? You better come in. Cause like,
we know this is your thing. You better see it.
It's just like the cutest thing. And like, but that's the pride. They'll push themselves in grapple time to do things that they would have never done, because they're on a mission to be chosen to share their work. And so, that leads to tears for little kids sometimes, but it's okay to cry when you want to share your math thinking.
Right? That's actually the best reason to cry.
Yeah, I love this reason for us to cry.
And sometimes it just happens. I mean, one of my favorite stories is I was in a kindergarten classroom, and it was like early in the year, and everyone was sitting on the, the rug, and we're getting ready. And I was sitting there too. And one little one, just like the tears were just like the entire time. And one of the boys in the class just leaned over to me, and he's like, sometimes we cry and it's okay.
That's right.
And I'm like,
right.
Yes.
Like, I love that.
Adults need to hear that a little bit more often, I think.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah.
Love.
It's true.
Love it. Well, how can we learn more about you? How can our listeners find you?
Well, I think there's like 2 main places that you can hear my voice again, which is on the Math Chat podcast. So I put out a new episode every Monday, and also I hang out on Instagram quite a bit. So, I kind of document my days there. So I'm at Hello Mona Math on Instagram. And actually I'm a Hello Mona Math at all of the socials. And then there's my website. So everything's there. And you can hear my voice in a written form by buying the book.
Yes.
This is so exciting. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
When this book comes out. It's going to be great for you. I'm excited for teachers to get this in their hands too, because just hearing the joy of you talking about it is making me excited for all teachers who read this book.
That's the goal, right? Like, I feel very much like a teacher that wrote a book for teachers, even though my current status is not in a classroom, but that was the goal. And every single word I wrote and like thought about was, how do I make this usable for teachers? If a teacher is going to spend their valuable time reading this book, how do I make sure every single word counts?
Mhm.
And yeah, I sent this book to Peg Smith, you guys, because I told you 5 practices was where
Yeah.
it started for me.
Yep.
And so Peg was on my podcast a long time ago. And so I just was like, you know what? I'm going to send it to her. I'm going to email her and I'm going to
Mhm.
ask her if she would read it. And she
Yep.
did.
Awesome.
And her, I'm going to read you what it says on the back.
Yep.
It says, a
Please
must
do.
have for any elementary teacher ready for a change.
Yeah.
Peg Smith, you guys, stop. So,
Girl,
I mean,
girl, you have it going on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just for those of us who know who Peg is and how,
Yeah.
like, you know, she changed the game. And so that's a big honor. And
Yeah.
a lot of other really great educators read the book and said nice things and endorsed it. But it just feels very full circle to me to be
Mhm.
inspired by 5 practices and then
Yeah.
have Peg say that this is like a really great book for teachers to read. So
No,
yeah.
we're really looking forward to it. And
Mhm.
yes, when it gets here, like, because,
Yeah.
you know,
14
it's coming
days
to this house
from October
so.
9th. 14 days. Don't worry, I'm
Excellent.
counting.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for spending
Yes.
some time with us tonight. We really appreciate it and wishing you all the very best as the book comes out.
Thank you. This was so great. I really appreciate being able to be a guest. It was so great talking with you, ladies, as always.
We love
So
it.
fun.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right. Well, that's super exciting. Another
Yeah.
book for you to collect, Heidi.
I know. I'm a little behind on my reading because we have too many friends who have, well, not too
That's
many,
true.
but like recently we're in a good chunk of excellent books coming out. So
I'm not
Yeah.
saying I'm not going to buy it. I'm going to buy it, but Heidi
Yes.
is a book hoarder. So I'm just not quite the hoarder that Heidi is.
It's not
It's not hoarding?
Not when it's books.
Oh, sorry, my mistake. Well, join us next time on October 23rd when we're going to host Nakasha Kirkland. So exciting. And
yes, you can find the book at Didex. I will also be, if you're at NCTM, I will be there at the Didex booth on Friday doing a bit of demo on the fraction section of this book. So if you would like to stop by and say hi, that would be fantastic. I hope to see you.
awesome.
And until then, we hope that you keep math creative, curious, and inclusive for everyone. Have a great night.
Thanks,